I got this message from an old high school classmate. Her name's Carrie. And
Nice.
Actually, if you were wondering, I think it was 8th grade, we were nominated Class Cuties. So for the mock elections, if you guys were wondering.
You kiss her?
That's
and I
because
won.
you were 2 foot tall.
I didn't kiss her.
Yeah.
I know, she held me. No, I'm just kidding.
Nice.
But we did. Shout out Carrie Carmichael. So anyhow, she messaged me on Facebook and she goes, Kyle, my fiance ran over this bird, and I was wondering if you know what it is.
Oh my gosh.
And we'll leave it on that picture for just a second. But she goes, I was wondering if you can tell me what it is and what that band is on it. And she was curious if he was the one that killed it. I said a couple things.
Number 1, yes.
I said no.
Why is the picture with the tire like?
The funny thing is the second picture. If you can go ahead and roll the second picture.
Okay, okay.
The second one, it's
All
like,
right.
but you can. That is so typical of someone who's like watching an event happen and then updating you as they watch the event because they're like, oh my god, I ran it over. The tires on it. Click.
Yep.
Oh, we should get off of it. Well, take another picture.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, just send them both, and that's very typical.
I feel like they had to have stopped the car when they got out. They realized, there was a pigeon underneath there. Like it had to have just been sitting there. Otherwise, when they hit it, they would have still been moving, and they would have.
Yeah.
So this
Continued.
is
So
where
I
I
don't know.
realized I have an alarming amount of random knowledge that she
a
was
fact.
actually right to call on me because I do apparently have a lot of knowledge. And she goes, "Do you know what this is? Do you know what this?" And it's got a band on it. What should I do?
It's a bird.
And I was like, no. I was like, well, it's a pigeon. First of all, second of all,
okay.
I doubt he is the one that killed it. Because there would be a puddle of blood, and after an animal dies, it does not bleed the same as if it was dead. So if you ran over a bird,
Yeah.
the blood would just be everywhere.
it would.
When there's
If it
already
was
a fly on it, which I feel like is too soon.
yeah, if you ran it over, and it was already dead, you'd kind of see this where there's not very much blood. So I told her, I
That's
said,
a good point.
rest assured, you probably didn't kill it. Number 2, it's a pigeon, and number 3. That band most likely represents the fact that it's a race pigeon. And we know this random piece of knowledge because this is like where old people gain knowledge.
Experience.
Jeffrey had an experience at his house that was not similar, but kind of.
Kinda. I raise chickens in the backyard. So I've got 10 chickens. There's a lot of feed all over all the time. So we get other birds. Well, at one point there's a pigeon. And there's doves and other stuff. But there's this pigeon walking around and it hangs out for 2-3 weeks.
Oh wow.
Well, after the second or third day, I walk out and I realize it's got a band on its foot. So I get close enough to it that I can see kind of what's on the band, and I Google it. And there's, I guess, this whole league of people that race pigeons, like across states, across...
Like carrier
I don't know
pigeons?
how far they'll go, kind of, basically. And they band them, and then they'll let them go from one spot, and they'll let a bunch of birds go, and then they train them to go to this other spot, however far away.
The weird thing is the spot's
And-
underneath a tire. No, I'm just kidding.
Nice. Now, the one that stopped at my house lost because he stopped at my house for 3 weeks.
And ate all your food.
Nope.
But he eventually left.
That
so
pigeon,
I assume
the pigeon that went to your house is my spirit animal. He trained for a race. They let him go. Once he started the race, he stopped somewhere and ate for 3 weeks instead of finishing the race. That is my spirit animal,
I
that
like
pigeon.
that. It reminds me of the when you get those dollar bills that have like look where this dollar's been and like people.
Oh, yeah.
It reminds me of that.
So it's funny that this was brought up because for training our German short hairs, we have pigeons.
Okay.
And when they're pups and you're teaching them how to point, they have these like bird traps set up. You keep your pigeons at your house or wherever, in the barn, wherever. And what happens with pigeons is they have some like compass thing going on inside their head. Like they can tell which way things are, like
Yeah.
geographically. And so I think it takes like up to 2 weeks you have to keep a pigeon in the same spot. You can take it somewhere in a car, let it go, it will fly back to that spot.
Really?
It knows its home.
That's pretty cool.
So
I did
what
not know that.
happens is you put the bird into
They would be perfect for the movie Taken, where he's like memorizing the turns and the car would
Nice.
be all hooded.
Nice plug.
Nice play, yeah.
all he's got to do is get a pigeon where the girl is and then leave it there for 2 weeks and then bring it home and then follow it. That's a great movie plot.
So what happened? You put them in this trap, and there's a remote control on it. And when the dog walks up to it, if they point it, then great. If they don't, and they like
Scare it.
attack the bird,
Yeah.
then it launches the bird up into the air, and they flush it, and it's training them like
Not to
how
flush.
how things happen when
Yeah,
you're
that's
out in the field. And then instead of buying 1,000 birds and just releasing them into the air, those pigeons always go straight back to where.
Oh yeah.
Oh, nice.
And
They
there's
do go back?
Yeah, and you set up like a door on their coop.
What torment?
You set up a.
What a life.
I mean,
Yeah, it's like Monsters Inc.
what is
How so?
what is happening?
What in the world? You got to explain
I need to
that.
know
'cause
that.
Monsters Inc.
What?
You know how they bottle the scare.
Yep.
So like these people just continually they go to their bed every night, these kids, and then every night this monster comes out of the closet, scares the bejesus out of them,
That's their
and
end.
there's a benefit to it, and then it just happens. Then they go back to bed again. They go right back to the same spot and get it again, and they go right back to the same. And their parents don't listen. No matter how much you cry, you tell your dad, "I'm scared to go to
So
bed."
it's
I'm
like-
scared
I didn't
to
have
bed."
What is going on?
He won't listen
dude?
to you, and he.
I didn't have confidence you were going to be able
which
to
would be a
trail
much
that back.
better reference.
What?
It'd be like Groundhog Day, where you're doing the same thing over and over and over again. It's a much better reference.
I
than
hate all
Monsters,
movies
Inc.
and shows that go with a groundhog plot where you see the same stuff over and over again. Even though like Fringe and all the good shows do it, you're a nerd. but still, I always get bored by those plots. But back to Ryan.
I mean,
He's
That's
like
it.
they flush the bird.
yeah.
It goes
Birds
back.
flush, they go back home.
Did that person look up what that tag was by chance?
I sent her the link to do so. And then she asked like how she should dispose of it. I said you should get the number off the tag and then just get rid of it. You know, you just dispose it.
Bury it.
Yeah.
Where'd they hit it?
I think all of it. I
No.
think in the
Say it's
body area. Somewhere
You are
around
joking, right?
the head, torso, and the it was in Madison Heights, I'm sure. I think she lives
well,
in
not
Madison
in their
Heights.
driveway. That's what I'm asking.
Oh, it was in the street, and she said a bunch of branches were down too. But I doubt like a pigeon was in the branches and collapsed with it. They're like
Yeah,
a cat. They're
I would
gonna
agree.
They're gonna survive a fall.
Yeah.
It kind of looked like when you look at the peppering in the chest, it
It
almost
kinda
looked like
he
it got shot.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. 'Cause it
Yeah,
had some
but I
speckle.
doubt it based on the area.
I'm wondering about your blood analysis, and maybe
Me too.
it just got
Expertise.
crushed, and then that's the blood just coming up from like the crusher, like the ribs coming up through.
Was the blood
It's
dry?
gruesome,
Was the
but-
blood dry around it?
You know, I didn't ask her that,
That would have been the.
but I
telling
think that I
sign.
am correct on
And
the
if
blood.
they found it and they had parked, and then maybe they found it later, how long it had been sitting there? There's
He
a bunch
didn't
of
kill it,
variables.
okay?
Or if you touch the bird and it's still warm. I mean, that's kind of weird, but I mean, it's true. If
Well,
you
yeah,
just if you
you
just
know,
touched
it's
it,
hot outside.
unlimited
that one.
outcomes.
I think we're going dark to a place that
Yep,
doesn't need to go.
yep.
if you
I
take your
almost
finger,
went there.
The other option, if you take your finger and I told her too that there is an off chance that it could be someone's farm pigeon too. Like we had people in our neighborhood that actually farmed pigeons, and they ate them because it's a delicacy in a lot of places.
Yeah.
So when they
That's why there's no more carrier pigeons, because they ate all of them. Like everyone did.
I think there
didn't ask, dude.
I think there is carrier
All right,
pigeons.
fine. I won't give any more
Didn't
facts.
ask, man.
Are you sure carrier pigeons are gone?
Yeah.
They just ate
They
them.
don't. They're extinct now.
They weren't just pigeons trained to do it. They were a specific.
No, they
thing?
were a specific.
Oh, I did not know
breed.
that.
They got
Thanks, public
eaten
school.
or whatever the case.
PBS came through with Jeff's facts this week.
Yeah.